What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. You know, the other day we did the economic crash coming, and a lot of you had Texas questions. And what should we do in a crash? How can we not just profit, but also thrive and live? Because I think the next 10 years are going to be a long decline. And I think Houston is a doorway to what we just saw. It's probably going to happen across the country, but in different levels, different varying levels. So, first off, Hurricane Harvey will create a bunch of millionaires. Houston already has millionaires. I just want to clarify that. If you've ever been to Houston, it's the fourth largest city in the whole United States. 2.3 million people are inside the city. 6 million live in the metro. And the metro contains many counties, many suburbs. At one point in time, a few years ago, 500 people a day were moving to Houston. 500 a day. Now, just in comparison, Austin had 157 moving a day. Dallas had, as big as Dallas is, and just in South Dallas, Atlanta could fit inside South Dallas. They had 250 people moving a day. So now imagine Houston with 500 people moving a day. It was just that much traction, that much going on. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. And those are just the numbers. And so even Texas Magazine has joked, if we were putting a capital somewhere based off population, it'd be in Houston. The capital would be in Houston. Austin has always been this smaller college town, not as big, not as much stuff going on, but it's been powerful. You know, Austin's been very powerful. So here's the thing about Houston. Many people are already asking, Erica, are you moving your painting company down to Houston? And the answer is no. I'm not moving my painting company down there. I actually have a feeling, and from the phone calls I've received, the level of phone calls I've already received, we're probably going to make a killing if we just stay in town because everybody's going that way. Now, why do I believe that? Because already, the past 6 years I've been in Austin, almost every single person that I've met that's in construction, that brought a team to Austin to work and get some of this construction money, they have been from Georgia. They have been from Alabama. They have been from North Carolina. They have been from everywhere else, and they follow the money. Like, they're in Austin only to get the money for the construction and the big boom and the housing boom. And like, one part of Austin was building 7,000 houses, and then another part of Leander was building 7,000 houses at one time. They were there to make the money. Now, the whole thing with Trump just happening, all of a sudden it kind of spooked, scared several of the Hispanic people, and we had a kind of an exodus. And they were going to Houston, a lot of Hispanic people, because they go to work with their family, their friends, and blend in and be fine. And so Austin, Texas already is 8 months behind on home construction. Like, we already told people, hey, you're going to have a house here in December. Oh, wait, Trump gave me office and spooked all these people. And so now we're already short. Your house might be done in January. It's on the schedule. It might be done in March. So just to give you an example of what's happening on the ground in Texas, as far as construction goes, as far as there's already people here who are here for the money. Georgians, Alabamans, Oklahoma folks, they don't have any problem filling up all the hotels in northern Austin, northern Cedar Park, northern Georgetown for money. Same thing with the RV parks. The RV parks are absolutely full of construction guys. Now, what do you think is happening right now as I speak to you? As I speak to you right now, what are these guys doing? Please comment. What do you think these guys are doing that came to Austin for money to soak up all this construction money to do these works because their town and cities were slow or not have as much work as recently? I mean, just basic math. There's probably already 10,000 small, and when I say small guy companies, I've gone to, when I delivered pizzas before I actually got my service business, there would be a hotel rooms and it'd be about a crew of 6 guys. 2 trucks, 6 guys, and they would work as teams. How fast can you get 6 guys who've already been staying in hotel rooms nonstop to get into 2 trucks with their suitcases and get their butt down to Houston? How fast do you think that can happen? Just give me your ideas. So a little miss. I love you see opportunity in every situation. Booking hotels in Houston. So here's the kicker. You don't even have to be in Houston. You could book a hotel 20 miles away because they're going to be stacked. Now, are you going to drive in traffic every day? Yeah, but if you ever see construction crew guys, they will actually drive into the city, be there all day anyway, one guy not be drunk, one guy not be so absolutely tired and drive them back. And it's usually the younger guy of the crew. I've seen it countless times. And some of the people you see with boats. Oh yeah, Alvin, who usually is on here, he's at his dealership today moving cars. I mean, the thing of it is there is already in motion. So here's my thing. If you already live in Houston, just being really honest, if you already live in Houston and you have problems with being unemployed, you may say, Erica, I have felonies, Erica, I have misdemeanors. There is a job already for you. You can go to United Way, Red Cross, all these places. Do you know how long some people work for Red Cross? I used to meet 60 and 70-year-old people working for Red Cross, getting hotel rooms, coming down with disaster relief and helping. I mean, I've already had emails from United Way and Red Cross because I used to serve all the time with them. Hey, we're looking for more people. This is going to be a hardcore 2 years where it's going to be like they're cleaning the muck of Houston, right? But there's a whole nother side of Houston and the suburbs that are living and going about their life and going to Subway and going to get Firehouse subs and go ahead about their day. Now, I think what people don't realize is how big Houston is. The fourth, again, let me say it, the fourth largest city in America. This isn't like a tiny city. You can drive 22 miles across Houston. My friends live in Katy. A mile down the street, they had to evacuate people. She takes a picture of her yard. It's just a lot of water. That's it. I mean, that's how big it is that a mile down the street from her, it is flooded. Also, you're talking about clay soil. I don't know if you guys know about clay soil. I know some of you from Georgia might know what I'm talking about. But clay soil and water is a whole, I mean, like, it's weird. It'll act like concrete. Right? Because people used to say, well, do y'all have basements in Texas? Not if you got clay soil, you don't. Not usually. Now, in parts of Georgia, yeah, you guys will dig in the ground and do what you got to do. But I'm going to read some of these comments. But just to give you an idea, if you're an unemployed male, Black, Latino, whatever, there's no excuse right now. You could get in your car and go to Houston. Now, many of you say, well, Eric, I got kids, I got this, I got that. I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying, if you're serious about it, if you really want the work, if you really want the money, go on down to Houston. Now, another thing about that, people that already live in Houston and complain about not having jobs, this is your time. This isn't the time to like start from scratch a whole new business, because there's already guys with crews who are going to be short staffed. They're going to be like, hey, bro, I'll pay you $20 an hour if you come on work with my crew. Now, here's the thing to be careful of. Last time we had Hurricane Rita, I had friends talk about how they didn't get paid because they were a sub of a sub. Do not be a sub of a sub. You have to actually be on the site and actually be a part of a team that's got a contract. It's very important, because after that point, you're fighting with the owner to pay you. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. And honestly, Red Cross, insurance companies, if we go right now online and you guys go Google Houston disaster jobs, it's already up there. They've had them up there for 6 hours now. So people are calling me like, Erica, what should I do? They already posted some of the jobs, bro. Like, it's already rolling, okay? So I'm going to read over some of these things. Lennon, I'm sorry, I apologize. Millions in disaster recovery, seen it with my own 2 eyes in South Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, and we had guys drive down to South Carolina with their trucks and their tool bags and their stuff and go work it. I've already been to the bank this week, and I had to go get a loan for something, and the guy was like, oh, you're going to Houston? The bank loan officer wasn't even caring about what I was talking about. He was reading over my form, but all he cared about was, are you guys going to Houston? You know, we got more business lines of credit. I've already received 2 calls from our local banks in Texas that are small banks. Hey, were you guys interested in business line of credit? Were your teams or your company going to Houston to help with the recovery? They're already trying to make money off the construction people because they know. They know. And we don't even have crazy heavy deposits in that one of those accounts, okay? So just to give you an example, Little Miss, this is why it's so important to have our business credit ready. This is why it's so important to have just a business bank account. I get emails probably routinely asking, are you guys open to a business line of credit? Would you like to apply right now? And depending on what's going on with my credit, depending on if we need it, I don't do it. I'm like, do I need this? Because sometimes if your scores are not great, yeah, they're offering you business line of credit, but like at 12%. I've had clients be offered at 15%. And I go, that's not worth it. That's a pretty crappy loan. Right? That's a pretty crappy loan. Okay. So, some weird symbols. And I'm in California. Maybe they'll come here. Well, yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. Texas is so big, and I'm not knocking it. I'm not like being dramatic about how big Texas is. There are people who could move to the middle of Taylor, Texas right now, which is on the edges. It's like um, 30, 40 minutes outside of Austin, Texas. And there's just countless houses that are available. Countless spaces for trailers, countless spaces for you name it. It's a lot of space. That's why when people say, man, Houston sounds huge. Well, you can drive 40 minutes across the other way across Houston and actually be able to go get housing, get somewhere to live, and actually be okay. Like it's just that different. It's just that big now. But I do know they sent Hurricane Katrina victims to California, and a lot of people still live there. We've got people living in Houston right now who were Hurricane Katrina victims. And honestly, it's been 12 years. And if they didn't get skills, or if they haven't changed jobs and changed careers, like a lot of them are in the same economic position. They're in a part of Houston that you see this flooding that is low income, low job base. Like this is happening to them again. But also something I really want to hit on. If you look back at your life 10 years, you're here because if you look at the past 10 years. I mean, it's something someone else says on YouTube all the time, but he's doggone spot on. So, okay. General knowledge. I often listen, never comment, just want to say hi. How you doing? Devin Return. Could this work for someone on the East Coast with a family? This could, but here's the thing. Like all the guys I see that are from North Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama, they do times. Like they'll do a month of work and make sure they get paid, and then they fly home and see their families for a while. A few of the guys will stay behind. But it's like they rotate. It's like they don't stay there nonstop. Some of the guys, I remember one guy from Georgia saying, yeah, baby, I've been here 2 months. I'm going home and going to spend 2 months with my wife. Like that's how much money they're making off of building houses and like having long work days that they can take 2 months off. And to me, that's the difference of just being a worker and being an owner. Because some of those guys, I mean, it's a small crew. It's a crew of 6. So if you go in and you guys sheetrock, you put the plaster on the walls, you actually paint, you guys actually install maybe some tile. Like for my example, for my company, we paint. We hate ceilings though. We paint, but we do have the guys that we sub out for the ceilings. But we do fence repair, fence installation. We also do a little bit of masonry. We don't really like it, but we do it if we have to, just so some of the houses are built. And light construction. And if there's something that can tie into what we're doing and we can sub it out to another company, we do. And there's just plenty of work in that, because a lot of times guys don't call people back. They get busy, painting quotes. I think people think painting is very cheap. They go to Lowe's. They're like, the kind of paint's only this much. I'm like, yeah, but it takes this much time, this much draping, this much covering. And so just that alone is a specialty, right? Let's say you're just a person that does demo teams. What do demo teams usually do? They bring those big giant dumpsters to the front of the house and they just gut. I've actually seen a crew of, was it like 5 Mexican guys? It might have been 5 or 6. They were in there for 4 hours, and I mean, they were like gloves on to here, to their elbows, face mask, and they were hammering the wall a little bit and then ripping it out. Just ripping it out. It was a fire damage. So, I mean, they were just ripping out everything, and they were just garbage bagging it. And when they didn't feel like garbage bag big chunky pieces, they would just throw out in wheelbarrows and they would just be going. It was like a train. When you have companies that they do this all the time, like even if they pull you on as a guy on the crew, like their motto is like, let's do this and go. Let's do this in 4 to 6 hours and roll. I've even seen the guys shovel the floor. I've seen them shovel. I've seen them rake floors, just because where they've just dumped everything in the demo on the floor and then they're just scooping it and putting it in wheelbarrows and they're scraping it out. I mean, it's crazy. But these are down to the studs projects I've seen. But there's opportunity here is the key. And so it has to depend on you. Like if you can look up right now, if you have a family, you're on the East Coast, if you look up some of the jobs, some of them will even say 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 6 weeks on. Like go on there right now and Google for yourself. You can see it. All right, let's see. I love how you pronounce it. Soul. I'm from North Carolina, folks. I got a dialect, okay? Why live on, isn't it, for pastures? Why live on land that is meant for pastures? Do you mean in higher northern parts of Texas? Sometimes. Devin Return, these jobs are majority construction related. What about somebody in automotive fields or opportunity for that? Heck yeah, Devin. Like, you know how many cars. Okay, so here's the thing. With the car industry, we're going to gut a lot of these cars that only had like water to here, to the bottom of the floor, and it's a truck or something like that. They're going to go through and possibly rip out carpet, possibly repair parts, pull out, circuit breakers and all that good stuff. You know the words I'm looking for. It's not my industry, but you know what I'm trying to say. And you always have, these cars are going to go up and down the road. They're going to have these salvage cars all over the place. Now, people may not think that, oh no, I got my Carfax, Erica. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've seen Hurricane Katrina cars in freaking Virginia. Okay, so they get around. They'll put them on wherever they need to. Now, here's also some of the stuff. If you ever go to a junkyard where they're actually crushing cars and they're taking pieces like rip apart, like junkyards where you can rip out the parts you need, they actually take them there, and sometimes just the engine alone, they'll get $400 for that car. And then other parts and pieces they'll get money for. So if you're an automotive person, you might be sent there just to take apart cars, where you're just taking them apart, and you're ripping off parts and pieces. And I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it at the junkyards here in Austin. I've seen it several places. A lot of these people, there'll be people who buy salvage cars, and we have a guy right here in Fayetteville, where my mom lives. He buys salvage cars, cleans them up, sells, and does his work. He's an older man. He's like 62. He works on them, and he sells them for like $3 grand. And you know what? They sell. Why? Because a guy or girl that's just driving back and forth locally, and they don't have any money, and they can't afford to get approved, like, they will buy those salvage cars. So let's see. Sorry, trying to keep up with everybody. Okay, Little Miss, they travel without their family. Yeah, they do. They do a combination. Like, I've seen people, they spent so much time here that they just moved their wife and kids in the school system and put them in a house because the rental prices were so cheap. But Houston, on that side of town, is going to be like, ooh. I mean, Alva's in here. He lives in Houston. He's considering options. I have friends that are in Sugarland and Pearland, but they're further out. I'm going to share the screen so you guys can get an idea of a second. Debris removal will be high demand for big companies and independent, tons of money. I wish I would have made a truck and some bobcats to be on my way. Listen, my friend is taking pictures in Houston, and he's putting them up on Facebook, and he's at a hotel because his apartment didn't flood. He's on the 3rd floor, but they were telling everybody to leave. So he had already left, but he's already taking pictures out of his hotel window and sharing on Facebook. There's 22 AAA trucks out there. The little tow trucks, the dualies. They're called dualies, but some of y'all might not know what that means, but just imagine a AAA tow truck. He's like, some of the guys are independent contractors. They don't even have AAA on the truck. It's like a Dodge Ram with the back door off, with the crane and everything, and they're all parked in a row. So what does that tell you? They're already there. They're ready. They're already there. But yeah, debris. I mean, honestly, even if you had a Dodge Ram, these trucks are expensive. And that's why I talked about in another video about the economic crash. You have these guys with these trucks that don't even use them. They're driving around just wanting to feel good about themselves. And it's like, a guy who's busting his butt and driving a little tiny truck that really needs that truck. It's like, dude, come on. Let's see. I'm in the high-end car business, anticipating a downfall. Most inventory not damaged. Now to flip gains and other opportunities. High-end cars that's tough. It's tough. But you know what? There'll be some folks making some money. There's a show called Blue Collar Millionaires, and I always talk about it on here. It's the simple companies that, if you do them right, if you get about 35 and you add about 5 guys working underneath you start making the money. Marcus Smith, demo company would be perfect. Here's the funny thing about it. There could be 2 guys, and I'm making a joke, but I remember these 2 black guys, and they had a little raggedy truck, and they had on regular white t-shirts and looked like they just came out of I don't know where. And they were like, yeah, we're here to do the tree removal. They didn't have on official shirts. They didn't have on official work clothes. They did have boots, but they had this truck, and I was like, you gonna be able to fit the tree in there? And they had a little trailer on the back, but it was like, what? So there's going to be all kind of opportunities for guys and girls who, even if they have a little small company, and it's just them in a pickup truck and 2 old black dudes, they'll go make some money if they're there and they're available. Because guess what happens? A lot of times these bigger companies get the contract and they want to sub out. This has been my experience in Austin. There's only me and one other minority painting company that's registered with the city. And when it came to phone calls, sometimes guys didn't want to work with us, but the city was like, hey, if you don't find a minority contractor, even if you just do 20 grand with them, yeah, we'll take your bid away. Now, I don't think FEMA's going to do that as much this time, but I really see that happening all the time, because a lot of times I'll meet Black and Latino guys, and I remember this Latino guy had a great business, but he was not legal. He had to move the business into his wife's name, and he was saying he got contract because his wife was Hispanic, she was legal, and she was a woman. So it was like a minority-owned business, and they were making money. but of course it was his company. And so you got to think about that. A lot of people are saying, well, the Hispanics are going to take jobs. No, they're not. In order for you to get your name on that contract, it's going to have to be legal. The government's like acting like they care. It's going to have to be legal. Now, whoever you subcontract to, that's your business, as long as the work gets done. So I'll just give you that little bit of game. I think people are thinking all these Hispanic guys are going to do that. South Texas is full of black people. Like, Houston's full of black people. Like, what's even funnier is, like, when I have friends and I go, what's wrong with Houston? They're like, oh, no, it's a little ghetto. I'm like, really? I've been down there. It looks great. It might just be a little too brown for some folks. That's all I'm saying. Alicia Dawn, what about a salvage houses? I hear when blood is on the ground, flood by the land. What do you know about that? So here's the crazy thing. Eckert, T. Harvey Eckert, he always talked about this. He's the dude that wrote Millionaire Mind in Turbulent Times. That's a really great audio if you guys can go grab it off YouTube or audible.com. He talked about one of his friends went to a place that had 80% of the city burned down. And I think it was either somewhere in Australia or somewhere. I think it was in Australia, and it was a weird moment. It burnt, and he went there, and his friend made a ton of money because people were willing to take pennies on the dollar. What's going on in Houston right now? These houses that live near downtown, they were already offering black people, and I'm just saying black people as a hypothetical. I know some Latinos in that area, but they had these older homes, but they're close to downtown, so they know the hipsters want to live there. They've been offering them $30,000. Now, what's going to happen in this storm? Think about it. You're going to go down there. Man, come on, old birdie. You know you don't want this house. And some of those guys that would have took 30 might take 20. Because they're going to just move. They're going to just bump it, move. That's why it's so important to know people on the ground. To actually, like, right now, if you're a house flipper in Houston, you should be just advertising yourself to take on lenders, people who want to make money. You should just be advertising yourself right now. Period. Because that's you on the ground. You know this. Every time I talk to somebody from Houston and they talk about the houses being bought downtown for $30,000, which is ridiculous because it's so close to downtown. And I know the name of the neighborhood, but I'm waiting on my friend Timothy to text it to me. Those people are going to take 20. Why? Because they're going to need a car and they're going to need a down payment for an apartment across town or a house across town. And they're just going to start over because a lot of these people do not have insurance. Now, the news said 80%, and people were like, I cannot believe 80% of a city wouldn't have insurance. Come on now. You know people don't do something unless they're forced. There's going to be a lot of people out of this 500,000 that don't have insurance. It's just, it might be 80. It just might be 80. Okay, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to share my screen real quick so you guys can see some of the stuff I was talking about to give you an example of how big it is. This is a perfect example of why. And now, there's just two places I want to talk about that people are completely ignoring. One's Rockport. And you can back me up on this. Rockport and Victoria, they are completely like. Now look at this map. Can you guys see the screen? Tell me if you can see the screen. It will help me if you guys can tell me if you can see the screen. I think I'm sharing. I'm not certain. But anyway, just to give you an example, in that part of Texas, just that part alone has 11 million people. Look at that part of the map. And then most of those areas, a lot of black folks, a lot of Hispanic folks. And so just an example, and this is off of FEMA. This is from federal government numbers. That's 46% population of Houston, of Texas. Now, why do most of Texans live there? Cheaper to live, energy sector, oil jobs. Again, like I told you, 500 people a day moving there. I would meet guys graduating college. Now, anything in this west part of Texas, Amarillo, North Part, is like nowhere's land, okay? Nowhere's land. It's just, if you drive through there, you're trying to get out. Lubbock, you can take from Austin to Lubbock, you can take flights, if that gives you an example. My friend had a company, was working with a company, and a car broke down. One of their like semi-trucks of food broke down in the north part of Texas. The headquarters was in Chicago, and they were calling saying, hey, can you guys rescue them? And the guy on the phone laughed. He said, you guys are closer to them than we are. We're in freaking Houston, and they're all the way almost near Oklahoma. It would be closer for you in Chicago to come get them from the company headquarters for us to drive up. If that gives y'all an example of what I'm talking about. Now, I live in North Carolina. I live in Texas for the past 6 years, but I'm from North Carolina. And when people act like North Carolina's little, I go, yeah, I can be at the beach in the morning and be in the mountains at night, but it's going to be like in the middle of the night. It could be like 3 in the morning. Like, it's a 6-hour, 7-hour drive, 8-hour drive. Imagine that being very common in Houston. That's why when people say, why did these people leave? You know, so El Rock, no, that's not true. These houses are not likely to be demolished. And this is how I tell you this. I've actually experienced this in North Carolina. I've experienced this in South Carolina. Trust me, El Rock, I've actually seen them go, well, we're just going to gut everything from the knees down. Like, you can stand beside the wall and they go, well, the water line stopped here. Now, if you've seen any of the pictures, it's a ton of houses where the water line, it only went up to their knees. And these are $500,000 homes, $300,000 homes. The insurance company is not going to do that. They're not going to demo these houses. Now, look at these houses in this picture. I switched the screen, and this is rushing water. That poor dog is behind him. Tell me if you guys can see that. Look at those houses. Look where the water is. They are not demoing those houses. Now, what they will say is, yes, you had water damage, but you had it to your ankles. So we're just going to, anything electrical that got damaged, anything from here below, your first floor of your house, if it's messed up, your AC unit, your heating, then they will replace. But these insurance companies are not going to do this. I had several friends in college who were frat guys, and they all went to work for their fathers in insurance. So, LA Rock, just about any land that has a house on it was once pasture. I mean, ideally. Parts of Houston were, I'm not going to say they weren't pasture. I'm just going to say they're more, imagine South Carolina where it's a little bit swampier and some of the land is a little bit more squashier. So it's not like necessarily pasture. Now, if you're talking about where I live in Austin, Texas and up, oh yeah. I mean, where I'm at in Austin is not even pasture. It's aquifer land. So we have several aquifers. If you go to San Marcos, it's a freaking river. I would say a stream. People call it a river, but it's a stream running through the actual town. So yes, did cattle and horses and stuff be there before? For sure, because that's where the water is. But to say parts of Houston are pasture, no, I drive down there and see. Drive down there and see it for yourself. It's very interesting. But just an example, that's what I mean. When you see this house, the insurance company's gonna say, nope, the line of water's here. I've seen houses right now in North Carolina where it's been over a year. Like the little part flooded one side of town of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And they were like, nah, we're not paying that. We're just not going to pay it. We're going to do this instead. We're going to give you this amount of money. It's the same thing they did to Hurricane Katrina. Water went to the ceiling. Oh, you didn't have flood insurance. So we're only going to give you 1/10 of what your policy is worth. So how are you going to actually tear down a house with that? You're not. Now, will they auction some of these houses? Oh, for sure. And will that company come and tear it down? Possibly. Possibly. I've seen guys tear things that should be dead to the studs. I've seen fire damaged homes be teared down to the studs and they just rebuilt. They replace pieces and keep on going. So anyway, this last part is insurance companies could face a staggering $500 billion loss in a crisis like turndown. Now, why did I say that? Because as the markets kind of cool down, I'm going to stop sharing that. I apologize. As the markets cool down, is what we're going through a long night, or as Game of Thrones says, the long winter. They're going to find ways to not pay policies. Prime example is there's a policy with a lot of the football players. Everybody didn't know they had access to it. But if something happens to you in one of these playoff game bowls, you actually can have insurance to kind of counterbalance that, like just in case you get injured. So one of the football players that actually got injured in a bowl game, and he was supposed to be like number 2 or number 3 in the draft. I forgot his name. He actually, every time he went down, the draft went round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, because he's still injured in a leg injury. He got picked up round 7, I think round 7, round 6. Anyway, he got picked up in the latest round possible. Guess what his insurance company had to pay him? $500,000. Because he took insurance out on against himself. Like Tina Turner has insurance on her legs. Okay, so there's a lot of policies here where they don't want to pay them. They're not going to want to pay them, but they will. And so it's going to take a hit to a lot of these people. So if just the cities that we saw in that, the counties we saw in that screen, if they all file at the same time, which a lot of them, I've seen Victoria, it's like on Facebook Live, it's like, imagine it just wiped. I talked to a friend, her uncle's there, and no power, no nothing. So LA Rock 56. I've been contemplating heading down there to do labor for some of these millionaires. Yes, Katrina may be rich at work. Now we'll check this out after show. Yeah, I mean, for sure. Definitely Google these disaster jobs. I'm telling y'all, it's crazy. If you, one of the sweetest jobs you can work for is Red Cross. I know people hate this, but Red Cross, 60% of their money they take in really goes to salaries. Straight up. Like when I went down to the tornado hit in Alabama. So you have Birmingham, Alabama, then you have Hoover, Alabama. Very beautiful. Millionaires live there. And they put you in hotels over there, but they drove you across to this little raggedy side of town. And I mean, it was like devastation. Like just wiped it off. And Red Cross, they were putting people up in nice hotels and making sure they had cards to swipe for their dinners and meals. And they trust. There's a lot of money being flown in. Depends on what's your level. If you guys are unemployed or you're broke or you just want a new life, a new situation, I would pick up and move. Now, there's still apartments available, but you might have to drive your car all the way across town to get into the work sites and where you need to be all day. So keep that in mind. Marcus Smith, talking to friends now to develop a company and have folks out there clean up along with buying properties. So Marcus Smith, it just depends on right now. Like when I have this show and I always tell you guys about cleaning up your personal credit, going, and people are like, how can I get my separate business credit? Go to the bank, open a business bank account, actually ask, actually apply, go see. There's some banks who take 540s and 620s and are giving lines of credit. Why? Because you actually have a company. There's a lot of barbershop owners and hair salon owners who have terrible credit. They got a lot of cash, and the bank will give them business lines of credit. I've actually seen it. I've actually helped clients do it. So, I mean, the key here to this is, my only worry about some people is if you get down there and you bring 2 or 3 guys with you, you're going to need to house them. You're going to make sure they have food. You're going to pay them weekly. Is the insurance company going to pay you weekly? Probably not. Some of the insurance cut checks right away. Some of them take 30 days or more. Just like they're fighting the insurance company, you might be fighting them. So you might need 30, maybe 20, depends on the line of credit you need to get down there and have hotels and be able to feed your staff. So something to think about. Mark Smith, living in Las Vegas and see us making a military with this. You can. It's possible. Trust me. I mean, like, even this, okay, example. I went to high school with a guy, and everybody called him stupid. But I didn't think he was stupid. I just think he was goofy, right? And cool white kid. And he went to Douglas Byrd High School, if you guys know about that in Fayetteville, North Carolina. He moved to Florida off of a hurricane. He moved down there, took a couple guys with him. That kid to this day has at least 5 properties. Cool house. It's only been what? How many years since gosh, not been that long. But the craziness of it is he is living well. And like people called him stupid, they called him goofy. He didn't go to college. He went to community college here, Fayetteville Tech, had some skills, drove his rump down to Florida. I'm just saying, they got cabinet making, electrical contractors licensed at the community college, they got stuff, I mean, it's just up to you where you want to take it. Alvin Hodrick, you can open a business account without a business. So here's the deal. Let's say I'm at my local credit union in Texas. Only thing they're going to require me is a DBA, EIN number and a DBA. EIN number I can get absolutely free at irs.gov. As long as it's 9 to 5. Anytime after 9 to 5, they mail it to you. So weird. So just do it 9 to 5, East Coast Standard Time. And have a DBA. Now, what is a DBA? It's doing business as name. I think Texas is $26. Other states are more. North Carolina was $14. I mean, they're all different prices, different places. But doing business as name, that's still connected to you more. It's a sole proprietor or just a one-person business person. It's not an LLC. It's just doing business as. You go over to the bank. Here's my doing business as certificate, little sheet of paper. They'll mail to you. And here's my EIN number. And here's $100 to open the account. There you go. There you go. That's it. So, hey, Black Knight Clothing said, hey, Marcus Smith, what part of town are you in? I'm in Vegas too. Connect. Like minds connect. If you're in the chat, connect with each other. So, let me see what else. I thought I had something else to share with you guys, but I don't know if I have it up. It might be gone already. But that's basically some of the things I wanted to hit on. I mean, listen, I'm going to stay behind in Austin unless I get a great offer. There's 2 guys I know who kind of want to go down there. I thought about partnering with them because they'll get more contracts because I'm a woman and a minority. Don't hate on me. Just saying. It's one of those things. But I think it's for my company, because we have so many people that come in from out of town to Austin, because it is the capital to make money, we could actually stay in Austin, market more, and soak up a lot of what's left over. Because a lot of those guys leaving are just like chasing the money. I'm out. We could actually stay in our own city and just clean up. And that's part of my thought process. because we already know our city. We don't have to go learn a new city. Some options there, just saying. Somebody was asking me about homes being cheap. So homes will be cheap. Here's the thing. There's only so much bandwidth people have, right? To fight with their insurance company, to fight with the bank, to fight with the mortgage lender. And at some point, some of these people are just going to walk away. They're just going to be like, hey, honey, let's just go over here. Like, you ever meet people who filed bankruptcy? I'm not knocking people who filed bankruptcy, but I've met a lot of people who filed bankruptcy for 10 grand. 10 grand in medical debts. I'm like, baby, you could have just worked a part-time job and paid that off. I found people filed bankruptcy for 30 grand and stuff. Just stuff. It's people don't like pressure. They don't like responsibility and they don't like pressure. So if they feel like, oh, there's no way to get out of this, I'm just going to file bankruptcy. People do it. So now imagine the compound of a storm on you. You out of work, you freaking out because you out of work, and the opportunity for you to go drive across town and go get a part-time job at this other business while all this is clearing up. Some people are going to do that. Some people, if they had a car and they were able to salvage their car, they're going to just start going to work, find an apartment across town, be like, hey, we had the storm damage. Our house is over there in damage. And they're just going over there. I remember living in our neighborhood in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and a fire happened at this guy's house and he didn't have insurance. He didn't have enough insurance. Let me clarify that. He had some insurance, but the policy wasn't going to clear certain things because it was electrical, but it was because he had what do you call those outlets? Too many of those surge protectors somewhere. So he gutted the house. They gutted it, but it sat empty for 4 years. Him and his wife moved across town. Now they finally went back years later after the storm and it made it all looking sad, you know. And they cleared it out down to the stubs and started over. Now some of them wood they had to replace. I don't remember all the pieces, but I remember seeing that neighborhood driving by and going, that house still isn't repaired. It's been 4 years. Why? Because they went and lived across town. They just went on with their lives. And so people saying the houses are going to be demoed. No, they're not. They're going to auction them. Bank's going to auction them. A lot of these houses, people are going to let them go. You're going to be able to call somebody and say, hey, I'll give you 30 grand. I'll give you 50 grand. And they will let that house go. I see it happening way more than y'all think. Let's see. Devin Return, do you have to be a graduate from high school to go to community college classes? No. They have GED programs though. Community college, a lot of these classes, like, dude, they've got even drone training at freaking. Well, we're from a military town, so some of that drone training is going to go for these Air Force kids. But they've got drone training workshops. They've got electrical, and usually they'll let you know what are the bare minimum you need to enter the class. Right when you go sign up for it, they'll let you know. Like I was just holding this up, like refrigerator, AC repair, electrical. Now, do I believe you should be there right now working? Yes and no. If you don't have skills, you're going to do a lot of labor. You're going to do like debris cleanup. You're going to be like shoveling crap. You're going to be getting there in the mud. You're going to be cleaning. On the other hand, let's say you go to community college. Some of these courses are only 5 weeks. It's a month. The school's getting ready to start in like 2 weeks. You could go, literally some of these people in Houston that are complaining about unemployment and they don't have jobs and the South has low pay. They could go to community college for 4 weeks. I have a $5,000 Pell Grant. Be paid for going to school, getting this trade, go over and get hired at some of these spots for a little bit more, right? Instead of getting the labor guy job for 15 hours a day, and even the guys holding the traffic signs, they're offering those guys $21 in the case of emergencies. So this is just something I saw earlier when I went to go look up some of these jobs. I was telling one of my friends, the guy who holds the slow stop signs that turns on the road, they're offering training for that in Houston, and then they're paying them $21. Because they know the roads are going to be jacked up. So, let's see here. Devin Richards, thank you for our info. Thank you. Alvin Cool, we'll make this happen. Alicia Dawn. Alvin, no. You cannot open a business account without a business. Thank you, Alicia. But that's why we went through the whole get an EIN number, get a DBA. Yes, that's the best part. Kiki Shortcake. You can go to community college while you're still in high school. Yes, and actually you can go for free. Now, to look up your state and make sure, but North Carolina, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and Florida, they've been making sure for years they're trying to get the high school graduation rates up and the certificate ratios up. Now, how does that happen? If you're a kid in, is it 10th grade? Yeah, 10th grade to 12th grade. And a lot of kids drop out of 9th grade. That's the sad part. 10th grade to 11th grade, you could actually go to community college for free up to 24 credit hours, I think. I think it's up to 24 credit hours until you like officially graduate. That's why you see these kids they call baby geniuses. They're graduating college at 19. I know a girl who's an engineer in Austin just got married. She graduated engineering from Aggie Land in 3 years. Now, most people say, how's that possible? She was already taking classes in community college. So by the time she got to actual college at 18, she had already got all these prerequisites done. That's how that happens. You can actually go for free. Check your area. Devon, he said, I'm in DC. I started a business, owned 2 properties, but never graduated high school. You know what? It's a personal thing. If you want to go get your GED and take the test and be done with it, go be done with it. That's how I look at it. Like, just get it and knock it out of the way. It's just, as long as life you'll live, like, let's just say you live to 80. And your kids go, Grandpa, why you never finish that? You just say I didn't need to. I mean, it's up to you. It's certain things I think when I look back, my grandma never went past 8th grade, but she wrote, and she was a reader. She wrote. She owned her own little side business. She did all kind of stuff. My grandpa, biological grandpa, my grandma was married multiple times, but my biological grandpa, who died in a motorcycle accident, he owned a juke joint beside the house. Here was the juke joint, and here was the house. And it was a party. And they parked off in the field in North Carolina, and it was all gravy. And, you know, when he died, of course, they couldn't keep that up because even though he didn't have education, you know, he had skills. And that's the problem. A lot of times, sometimes people who leave high school, maybe they don't have skills. And so that's a bigger challenge than not having a diploma or degree. Like, if you have skills, if someone's training you how to do construction or repair cars or mechanic, you're good for the rest of your life. Now, you may only make 50, 60. But I've seen a lot of, that's why my whole thing about watch the show on CBC called Blue Collar Millionaires. It's very fascinating. A lot of those people, simple jobs, simple stuff, millions of dollars because people don't want to do the basics. We're short on tradespeople. Like right now, welders, even though people say, well, Erica, Google welders, they don't make that much. These idiot people who think they're going to Google something. Google is not your friend. Stop it. Welders are making $150,000 to $300,000. But here's the kickback. Those welders making that kind of money are being moved around all the time. Like they're being flown to California, then they fly them to Las Vegas, then they fly them to New York, then they fly them over here to Minnesota, then they fly them, and they got to be teaching people at the same time and working all of these long hours. But they are making the money. Now, the guy who's making 15-hour welding, he's probably part-time in the back of somewhere and an additional guy on a team of 20. That's the difference, right? So responsibility levels, people hate that. People don't want to be responsible. That's all that's about. All right, but yeah, so Rockport, keep that in mind. Rockport, that you guys are not hearing nothing about on the news, Rockport, Texas, and Victoria, Texas. Whew. Again, Houston is the 4th largest city in the United States, one of the biggest in the South. 2.3 million people live in the city, 6 million live in the metro. I have so many people commenting that why didn't people leave? That is the most idiot thing I've ever heard. Now, why is it idiot? I'm not trying to knock people, but the mammoth, you're talking about evacuating for Raleigh's 4 times. So think of Raleigh, North Carolina, if you're on the East Coast, times and times 4. And Raleigh has like 10 colleges and all these people, and it has a research triangle of engineers of like 300,000 engineers. I mean, Raleigh is like 1.9 mil, maybe. But imagine that 4 times that size. And you're saying y'all need to evacuate. They didn't know. Part of the city is low-lying. Now, if you lived in Houston, and I'm not knocking you, but you saw what happened last year. I'm talking about last year when it flooded off 3 days straight of rain. If you lived in any of those areas, you needed to move. Now, why do people not do that? Because guess what's going to happen? They're going to repair some of these apartments, and they're going to say, hey, we're going to get 2 months free, completely upgraded, renovated apartment. And people are going to move in because they're financially pressed and they don't have their money together. 80% of people live paycheck to paycheck. Without credit cards, I tell you this all the time. When I worked in food service, I was at, was it Jason's Deli and Panera Bread? The lines would be all these long lines, and I was a cashier, and every single person, credit card, credit card, credit card, credit card, credit card, credit. When someone actually busted out cash, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm my first cash person out of 100 people at lunchtime. People be living off these credit cards. If you took away at least 3 million people's credit card access, I mean, they would have a low standard of living. They'd have to live within their means because the average American, I think, spends like, if they have, you know, let's say the average American has $100, they spend $107. And people say, well, how is that possible? Credit. That's how. So Did anybody have any questions about Texas? Any questions about construction? Any questions before I wrap this up for the day? Any questions about Harvey, bank accounts? I mean, things related to what we're talking about here in Texas. Anything related to Texas, hit me up in the question box. Okay, let's see. Anthony Williams. Hey, Erica, I'm in Humble, Texas. 12 minutes from downtown Houston. This may be the time for me to go get a hustle going. I do amateur carpentry, paint, upholstery, and I have CDL. Oh man, you're perfect. You need to go ahead. First, I would tell you, if you're in Humble, I would say Google cleanup sites. Now, I know it sounds crazy, but Google cleanup sites and Google disaster jobs, Houston, Texas disaster jobs, because they're already probably forming teams. And if you can show you have active CDLs, like I can drive a forklift and I can drive like this other picker, it's an order picker. I know it sounds silly, but I had it for my days of Lowe's and I kept getting recertified. Like people all the time are like, hey girl, you want to come make $20 an hour driving that forklift? If I was in dire straits and I lost everything tomorrow, I would go do it. But I would mostly just go to the bank and ask for business line credit. I'd go hammer them until they all gave me money again. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like people don't plan for worst case scenario. You need skills. Like there's every time I go T. Hart Eckert, and there's a couple people that are like, if I lost everything tomorrow, I have it back in a year because I've already learned the skills, and now I know all I have to need to do. I can go in the daytime, work here, and while I'm doing that, tell the bank I'm cleaning up my credit and go ask for new lines of credit and all these other things. Once you learn the skills, once you have the skills, you can do what you got to do. But Anthony, definitely give us a report update in the future how that's going for you, because I know you're about to clean up, because you could probably just stay busy, period. $80,000 a year busy for the next year and a half. So, okay. Little Miss, might be a good time to get food trucks to feed those contract workers too. That's true. Like food trucks are very popular in Austin. Now, there's a lot of food trucks that go under, but here's the crack. Here it cracks you up. If you Google food trucks for sale Austin, go look up Austin, and where's that other city they keep them at? They keep a ton of them for sale in this one location. It's like a warehouse, and it's people that went under, right? Like they couldn't afford to keep them, or they had to sell them. Those things sell. Like if you got 20 grand or 30 grand to start a food truck, and tacos is always about them damn tacos in Texas. Or you hire people that make really good food, whatever. Like there's this food truck, I haven't found it again, but it has pita bread and hamburgers. Like they make hamburgers, and the guy just didn't buy hamburger buns. He just bought pita bread. I know it sounds crazy what I'm saying, but because everybody loves tacos in Texas, he was trying to find a way to compete. I know it's in Houston somewhere. I don't know what the name of his truck is, but it's literally hamburgers. And he'll cut the hamburger in half and put it in a pita bread and put your like chili, your lettuce, whatever, tomato, and hand it to you out the window. And it's very popular. Like when I was there, it was like a 20-minute line, because it was different, right? So I mean, there's money to be made in that, because they would not be able to leave construction sites and drive all the way across town. If you can get your food truck over there and park near there, get it. Misconceived 2008. I'm a correction officer looking for work in Texas. So they're probably going to have to reroute some of these people to other jails in Texas. Pretty sure that's what they're going to do. I don't know which jails, but for sure they're going to have to move some people around. I'm from Florida. But girl, you already know Florida when they have storms, they make money. People come down there all the time. Or example, there's a guy's company. I saw him on Grant Cardone show. All he does, he has ads on there. He sends guys to disaster zones. I forgot the name of his company. Perfect example. That's what he does. He hires young white guys or young guys, all kind of guys. He does not just white guys, but 18 to 21. I mean, he doesn't put limits on age. That's illegal. But if you're willing to travel and stay somewhere for 5 weeks and knock doors, I'm looking for you. I'll train you. I'll do everything I need to do for you, but we're Storm Chasers. I think the name of the company is Storm Chasers. I'm not mistaken. It might be Storm Chasers. But like that's what he does. That's all he does is knock doors, because they have a system for contacting insurance, billing insurance, fighting with insurance. Like they're good. Like they're just going to send you out to knock doors and send crews to either subcontract or get the work done. Carol, I don't know how to say that. Brown, can you go over that part about opening business using DBA? Okay, you guys are overthinking the business thing. So here we go. Erica Williams, I want to go do demo cleanup. Now, knowing what I know now, I'd make it myself an LLC and get insurance for $400. for $1 million coverage. But that's me at this level. If I was Erica Williams, all I got is a little pickup truck and the clothes in the pickup truck, and I need money, I go Erica's Cleanup Company, right? Or the DBA is doing business as. Instead of saying Erica Williams Cleanup Truck, let's say I call it Success Cleanup. There we go. We're just gonna make up a name. Success Cleanup. And why is the DBA there? The DBA is just telling the county I'm in, it's me, Erica Williams. I'm working. But I'm not going to say Erica Williams Cleaning. I'm going to say Success Cleaning. Success Demo, whatever we were just talking about. But Success Demo, right? It's just so it's not in my actual name, right? Because what happens? A lot of times people put stuff in their name. They go under, then they got to get another LLC, and then they got to get another DBA. And it's comedy. I've seen it happen to plenty of guys where they had a little lawsuit or something happened, and now they got to put all the business in their wife's name. So again, today, your name is Mr. Brown. Instead of saying Mr. Brown's Cleaning, whatever, let's say you want to call it something else. What would you call it? Mr. Success Cleaning. You go downtown for your county. Make sure nobody else had Success Cleaning. You know, put a little something on the end of it, make it different. Fill out the DBA form. Get a notary republic to squeeze it to acknowledge that you did. And if you go downtown, they'll actually do it there. But let's say you're not downtown. Let's say you're at UPS store and you fill it out and she notarizes it there. Then you take it downtown and file it. Now for Texas, last time I checked, when I changed, we did one for 26 bucks, if I'm not mistaken. Might be 14, but I thought it was 26. 26 bucks. Went over in the same in North Carolina. North Carolina was like 14 bucks for that county. Some counties, like in Pennsylvania, it's like 75 bucks. So, but it's just a way for the government to say, this person actually has a business, they're working, this is who they are, right? So now you're going to take that piece of paper, because what they're going to do is going to receive it at the counter, give you a receipt for what you paid, and then they're going to mail it to your house. So it's a legit address. So you got to put your address on it. When it comes to your house, take that sheet of paper out, take it out, take your EIN number you got from the IRS.gov website, take it to your bank. If you're a small bank, I don't like big banks, I'll tell you all that. Small banks give you money. If a small bank says $50 to open a checking account, you take that 50, those 2 pieces of paper with your ID, and open that account. Now, you can do it that day, or you can do it later that week and apply for business lines of credit. And what I mean by business line of credit is just a loan. It's just a line of a loan. And for a business credit card. That's it. That's the magic. Now, when it comes to people wanting to do real estate and other stuff, they're going to open 4 or 5 accounts. Prime example, Memphis Invest. They have like 20 different bank accounts. When they first started, their dad first started asking for lines of credit. He went for 20. Now they have hundreds. I mean, I cannot even imagine all the banks they probably have. But also, once you have good records of paying on time and paying things back, those banks start going more and more. Now, when people say, oh, I want to have separate from my personal credit, I want to have it separate. Well, then we can do LLCs and we can go to the next level. But it really isn't separate till you make money. Now, let me make that very clear. The only way it can be separate is, like, let's say you have a barbershop and you have a merchant swipe card and it's raking in $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. It's like a hopping barbershop and everybody swipes that one machine. The bank will then give you business lines of credit off of the power of the deposits, not off personal guarantee. They're going off just your business records, business deposits. Okay, does that make sense? So when people are trying to sell you this hype, and I Googled this, and I know somebody who did this, like, trust me, family's done business for 20 years plus. I've done business for over 6 years. Other people I know have done it for 7 years. Like, all my clients I've worked with, my clients are getting $140,000 in lines of credit, like personal guarantee. I already know what I'm talking about. So we'll save that for another video because we're going to get off track of Houston. But any more things about Houston, let me know. Devin Richardson could really use your help on me. Well, Devin, it's always in the links below, because a lot of times what people think is, hey, if I clean all the stuff off my credit, it ought to hop up. Nope, you got to have positive things adding to it. 3 to 6 lines, positive adding to it. That's why a lot of times people call me, they're like, do you have trade lines at the same time? Stuff like that. All right, Little Miss, log on to rs.gov. Yep, for EIN, DBA, doing business as. Sorry about that. It's best way to build credit when you don't have any. Kiki Shortcake. Best way to build it when you don't have it. Let's say you go to your bank and apply, and they say, no, sorry, you don't have any. Same way a lot of the Hispanic people that come to America, they start with lows, Home Depot, smaller lines, but they start at their bank. I remember when I lived in Greenville for East Carolina University College, I'd go into Bank of America, and the lines would be out the door For the Hispanic guys cashing checks on Friday, the bank would see how much those deposits were and offer them more credit. Now, if they didn't offer it to them, they would go and get like a little $300 business credit card, right? I mean, not necessarily a business credit card, but just a regular credit card, secured credit card. And then they would work on that. And think about it. You hear this person who's fresh to America, they have one credit card, they pay down and pay on time. They have a thin file. Other people will approve them. Home Depot, Lowe's will approve them because they have a thin file. Some of you have got student loans and all the other stuff on that, different levels. So, but the best way to go is, let's say you have a bank, you go in, you get a secure credit card, secure loan. Now with the secure loan, let's say like you're at Navy Federal, it's a pledge loan. You give them $300. I think you can give them as low as $250. Give them $250, they're gonna give you that $250 back. Take that $250 and say, can I put this in a secure credit card? Well, now you got two lines right there. Boom. Okay. All right, Miss Conceited, any jobs at FEMA or Red Cross? Yeah, just go ahead and Google. Like, they're already up there. They're already posted. Red, hello. Okay, so everybody, that's it. That's it for today. I didn't want to take up all your time, but I just had to say, I had to just do that one to get it clarified. Like, there's going to be money to be made. If you got skill, great. If you don't have skill, this is a great time to head down there. Like, right now, when someone told me the other day that Chicago had like 40% black male unemployment, I was like, why? Leave. And I know that makes it sound simple answer, but I would not stay there. I would get a bus ticket and bus it on down to Houston. Okay. Like, and I know a lot of people up north can't drive. So I'm not ignorant of the fact that you guys, a lot of people up north don't need to drive. They have a subway system and stuff like that. But if you move to Texas, you will need to drive. So just as simple. So there's going to be a ton of money made in the next 1 to 4 years. It's going to be crazy because Houston is a bustling city. The other half of the city is still going. I'm not trying to knock it, but the other half of the city is already still going to work. They making phone calls. They eating out. They getting delivery. They're going about their day. There's restaurants open right now. There's a whole nother side of that place that's active, right? And if you have a hotel, if you're a hotel owner, you probably got rooms busy. I know they're complaining about price gouging, but you've already got crews coming in from up north, from up south, all these other places to fill up your hotel. Yeah, there's lots of big money to be made. So definitely check that out. If you guys need credit repair and anything, click the links. I always put them in below. If you guys have other questions, need a consult, or you have like deep questions that take too long to answer, below, click the links below. But you guys be safe out there. Be smart about it. Decide for yourself. Houston's a great city otherwise. I mean, right now you're just going to be working your butt off and you're going to make a lot of money. So everybody, this is Erica, Classy Climb Blog. Listen, on my blog, I will post a list of local charities. You guys know I am not a fan necessarily the biggest charities because sometimes that money just seems to go to salaries and keeping employees in those areas. I am big on local charities. So I will try to get that list out of Houston's local charities. I already heard one from my friend Dre that I'll post, but I'll try to post it here and I'll try to post it on Facebook. So you guys, this is Erica, Classy Climb Blog. You guys keep it classy out there. Keep it going. You guys have an awesome day.